Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 7 of season 5 of our F1 22 My Team Career Mode. Today we're back at the jewel in the Formula 1 crown. It's time for the Monaco Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live right at the end of last week from Miami, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out as well. And of course, you know, unfortunately, I'm recording this before the Bahrain Grand Prix, so either I cannot believe how crazy that race was. You know, we looked like Red Bull were going to dominate after qualifying, but no one saw that result coming. Or I can't believe that Red Bull just absolutely dominated the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is probably on for a third world title. Let me know down in the comments below which one of those is the right response there. But, of course, yeah, still yet to win the Monaco Grand Prix in the My Team Career Mode. To be completely honest with how a couple of races have gone in recent weeks, not particularly confident coming into this one. 2 engine failures in a row, both in the Imola Sprint and the Miami Grand Prix last time out, means that Charles Leclerc is now behind Lando Norris in the championship. Yep, everyone spoke about how Audi were looking to be quite dominant here starting season 5, but no, Lando Norris, even his consistency has boosted him up to the lead of the championship there. We're 47 points back behind our fellow Brit and 44 behind our teammate, but yeah, Monaco, of course, is the one they all want to win. There's one thing I do want more, though, than the Monaco Grand Prix victory, and that is if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do so down below. Less than 1,000 away now from 100k. I cannot believe it. We really are into the end game now. So, you know, if you're watching this, you haven't clicked that big red button, it would be greatly appreciated. And let's go out there and try and finally win the Monaco Grand Prix on F1 22. Well, here we are then, qualifying Saturday from the Monte Carlo streets, and of course the Monaco Grand Prix. Must admit, free practice went really well round here. Managed to pick up the pace quite nicely as we just grazed the wall heading out of the final corner. That is not the line through turn 1, but as we dive into qualifying though, just want to try and make sure that we get through Q1 and Q2 nice and easily as always there, but that opening start to my first lap is probably not the best way to go about things, but again, you know, this car very, very quick around so many of these venues. Yeah, this first lap is sloppy. I might even go for a double run. Just making sure we don't nick any of the walls as we round our way through the final few corners. Have always gone well around the middle sector. Here as we head through Anthony Nogues, though, trying to just set ourselves up for the second lap. Felipe Drogovic sets the pace on a 10.9. We go no faster there. In fact, 0.04 of a second slower at the end of our first run, also on a 10.9. But again, you never really still know who's going to be quick and who's not around a lot of these circuits. Valtteri Bottas sets a bit of a better representative, down on a 10.5 there, as you can already see. Building up confidence, finding another quarter of a second in Sector 1. I'm not convinced the tyres like being worked too hard for 2 laps in a row, but we have still been able to maintain the advantage we found in Sector 1 there. Again, grazing the wall through Larascas. About the final corner, Zhou Guanyu now sets the pace down into the low 1 minute 10s. We go back into P3 there on a 10.5. Pretty much the same time as Bottas, but what will Charles and Lando? Well, always when I come back to Monaco, of course, you know, you go through Q1 and it's the one memory of Charles Leclerc back in 2019 around this venue where Ferrari didn't send him back out late on in Q1 and he got knocked out by his teammate Sebastian Vettel. That's always what I worry about happening around this venue, so I'm going to go for another run. Currently sat down in P12. We know there's more time to find. Charles Leclerc is fast at the moment. Only man under the 77 mark on a 109.9. Getting on purple through Sector 2, but as we round our way through the final couple of turns, we are actually going to be very, very close to that pace set by Charles Leclerc. Out of the final corner, finally got a tidy run out of Anthony Nogues. That'll carry us right the way up to the line. What's the time going to be? A 1:10.00 in the end there. That's good enough for P3, and we're straight into Q2. Well, halfway into Q2 then, it was Esteban Ocon that joined us in those 1 minute... Well, sorry, actually joined Charles Leclerc in the 109s. Of course, I still was in the 110s there at the end of that first session, but if I can now dip down into those 109s, that could do us a lot of favours and make Q2 a lot less stressful then. No major surprises at Q1. I guess Alex Albon in his Williams there, of course, have been qualifying very, very well early on in the campaign, and Nicholas Latifi in his Merc he didn't make it through. That's probably less surprising to most of you as well. But yeah, let's just try and get this car threaded around the Monaco streets once again. It will be so cool to see Audi finally taking on this Monaco street circuit, of course, in the not too distant future now. Because 2026 might sound like a long way away, but it won't be long before we're looking back. You know, looking back at this series when Audi are on the real Formula 1 grid, going, wow, they're even more dominant in real life than Matt was able to make them, and they most definitely had less engine failures. That's not the line through to back though. Just tipped it in too early, and that is going to ruin my first run there. We're going to have to go out on our third and final set of the soft compound tyres, and now qualifying has become a bit more one-shot-esque for us. Right, 30 seconds left on the clock then. We need to find some time, but so do the Red Bulls. Last weekend's winner, Sergio Perez, in Miami, currently down in P14. Valtteri Bottas, P15. The sun is starting to shine though once again, so hopefully track temperatures are going to improve ever so slightly as well. And let's just try and get another good lap on the board. Well, nice run through the middle part of the lap there, but running a little bit wide. Or through the swimming pool chicane again, running a bit wide through Larascas. Graze up against the Armco once again, but at the final corner it has been a pretty tidy lap. Shortest run to the line, 19.5. Sorry, a 109.5. And that's quickest. In Q2 then, Charles Leclerc is not going to have it easy at his home GP. There we go then, having a look at those times. Half a tenth between us, between myself and Charles Leclerc there. Zhou Guanyu is looking very comfortable around these streets as well. McLaren are definitely within the fight, but a team that aren't looks to be Ferrari there. Lando Norris P7 ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Neither Red Bull though making it through all the way down, and the 1 minute 10.4s there, slower than both Haskell's and Yuri Vips as well. But it's only going to take one run here to put it on pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix. Let's try and get this lap hooked up. Zhou Guanyu getting quicker and quicker at the moment, down onto a 109.6, but I couldn't quite see the time that Charles Leclerc has set. Let's get back out onto the circuit myself. First run then here in Q3 on the scrub set of tyres. Let's try and nail it. No, nick the wall through the corner that so many have done so in the past. Oh, it's all gone wrong, locked up as well. In through Larascas there, and as we come out of the final corner to finish off my first lap, it's certainly not going to be a decent representative. Up over the line, a 110.8 puts us P10. Now, the pressure is really on once again. Right, there we go. Charles Leclerc has put down the gauntlet, a 109.3. That is the time we've got to chase here as everyone else comes to the end of their final run. We're going to start ours. Concentrate. Let's get a lap and a pole.
Okay, you've dropped to P10. Let's go again. We can do better.
Final corner, I haven't even been able to have a look at the time. We're 1.7 seconds up. Will it be enough? Yes, it is. It's pole for the Monaco Grand Prix there. At the final chance of asking, I think that was a 109.1. Well, there we go then. First pole position for Audi since the Shanghai Grand Prix back in China a few races ago. But it is both of our cars ahead of both McLarens there. Lance Stroll inside the top 5 as well, ahead of Pierre Gasly. Of course, will once again be solo flying the Mercedes flag. But this is a big opportunity. If we can hold on to the lead down at turn 1, we have got a chance here today. Charles Leclerc, though, of course, I'm sure will want to win his home Grand Prix again. Let's do this thing. Let's try and finally win this race.
Formula 1 returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino that first opened in 1863. And of course, a certain road race first held in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco, then, is not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo. And although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Ocon, Joe, Lance Stroll and Gasly, Tsunoda, Norris, Oscar Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Drugovich, Yuri Vips and Deruvala, Perez, Bottas, Alex Albon and Daniel Ticktum, Schwartzman, Théo Pourchaire, Magnussen and Nicholas Latifi. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Now I wonder, Anthony Davidson, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams? Trying to put a bit of pressure on or disrupt things for the leaders?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you know, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
Right, here we are then. Monaco Grand Prix, and of course Anthony Davidson, they're talking about potential different strategies today. That, I'm sure, is going to be a question on my mind as well. How far does the game reckon we can take a set of soft compound tyres? It does reckon we could do soft medium here. We will be trying to stretch out those softs as far as possible early on there, of course, to make sure that we don't get overcut too badly. But I'm also going to take quite a gamble on the fuel as well. I'm going to take a fair bit out of the fuel tank. I mean, the whole focus today is just trying to get a good start on the run in towards that first corner there. Looks like everyone around me is starting on the medium, so that's a good sign as well. It's a big risk, but to be honest, at this stage of the championship, I'm only worried about trying to get a win. If I lose out to Charles and I come P2, it don't really matter. I just want to try and win, not only to end our barren streak at the start of Season 5, but also to end my run of bad luck here at Monaco as well. Right, here we are then, lining up on the grid, ready for the big one. The Monaco Grand Prix here in Season 5. Audi's first venture out to this, one of the most iconic Formula 1 venues in the world. They're trying to give ourselves the best possible place to start this race we possibly can. We've got to get a good launch. Come on. I've bottled well over probably 100 race starts on this game. Don't let this one be one today there. Latifi rounding out the field in his mutt. Took some grid penalties, the only car to do so. Come on then. Monaco Grand Prix time. 5 red lights. Oh, not long at all on the hold. And Charles Leclerc will go straight past me on the run down towards Salmon. Will defend from both of the McLaren cars there. But of course, remember, back all those years ago, to when Théo Pourchaire did exactly the same thing. Looks like Pierre Gasly has started this Grand Prix on the hard. So interesting strategies coming out there. All 3 sets of tyres in use at the start of the Monaco Grand Prix. But of course, us on the soft compound tyres, we've got to try and get round Leclerc early on. Once again this afternoon, the homeboy leads as we head down in towards the hairpin for the first time. Zhou Guanyu, Esteban Ocon still hanging on to their starting positions there, as of course the yellow flag's out just by the nature of all of the concertina and up. Of course, we know just how quickly the AI can try and fire up their tyres, but really I've probably got about a 5-lap window early on in this Grand Prix there. Whoa, that's not the line. Big lock-up as we head down into the hairpin. There we get a warning for corner cutting. Don't obviously, never going to take the advantage over Charles Leclerc. They're just from completely cutting over that chicane, and that's given him an even bigger advantage as we come towards the end of lap 1. Of course, we are going to have to try and look after the tyres as well throughout most of this afternoon's running. But Charles Leclerc leads then as we come to the end of lap 1. I wanted desperately to get a good start here, but yeah, the lights just went out so quickly. Just did not have the time to react. I think the other big thing this afternoon is going to be about front locking there as we put the power down out of the final corner. Charles Leclerc 1:11.7. We set a 1:11.4. So we are definitely quicker than our teammate. DRS has been enabled. Zhou Guanyu is not within the range of us. But of course, the other big thing is, you know, when you sit behind the car in front for too long in the dirty air, you really do start to lose out a lot of time as well. I'm just trying to give these tyres a chance to cool early on in the Grand Prix there, but just making sure that we're staying within the range of Charles Leclerc. It's always so difficult around this venue. The AI can just fire up those mediums as quickly as they like. I do know what to do, Mark, but unless you can suggest a way we can actually get around him, that's what I need at the moment. The only other sort of thought process I've had, of course, is if we do box slightly earlier and then either go on those mediums or hard tyres to the end, whether we can try and get an undercut on Charlie Boy, but that's still going to be incredibly difficult here because of course we're going to have to try and find a gap in the traffic. That's what we've got to look out for later on in the afternoon, but of course these soft compound tyres will start to fall off and then we might end up in the clutches of Zhou Guanyu behind. Very, very difficult to try and manage things early on. We've just got to try and see if there's a window for the race to come back to me. The other thing about Monaco, though, I think a lot of people forget, on F1 22 it has been the same for the last couple of games. So difficult to overheat the tyres now around this venue. Of course, back on sort of between F1 2016 and 2018, 2019, you can absolutely just throw a car around here throughout the entirety of a Grand Prix. But once they made those tweaks to the way the tyre temperatures work and things like that, a little bit deep into the chicane, you now can't really push as much. You really have got to monitor a lot of the car around this venue nowadays. And of course, the AI, they can absolutely just battle right at the top of that threshold. Of course, you get the tyres close to the top of the window, start to slide around under you and things like that. And of course, the AI can very easily just drive around that. I'm a human. I can't, sadly. If it starts to slide, I see Armco barriers and I panic. The other thing I've just noticed on the mini-map, of course, is Pierre Gasly might form into a bit of a cork in the bottle this afternoon, starting on those hard compound tyres. The only sort of thing I can think of off the top of my head is if we can pit at some point and get ahead of him, and then hope that, I don't know, say Charles and all the others lose a bit of time, just trying, obviously, to extend their stint as far as possible. It could mean then that later on in the afternoon we've got a bit of an opportunity. But it's whether I trust the pit-out estimate that this game provides. Obviously, you don't lose a huge amount of time pitting in Monaco, of course, just because it's a very, very short pit lane and a very, very slow track. So that's close to the wall on the exit of Tabac. But, of course, you know, like they always say, there's one trump card around this venue, and that is always track position. And it would be nice to know where Pierre Gasly is and sort of what times he's doing at the moment, because all I'm able to do is just base it on roughly where he is on the track map, which of course, is not only a bit of guesswork, but also means it's more time I'm spending having to look on the mini-map rather than on where I'm going, which around Monaco is not really ideal. Team reckon if we were to pit now, we'd rejoin the P18, so it'd still be right at the back of that train of cars. Will we lose that much around here? Probably, to be honest. Right, what team want to see in at the end of this lap, and to be honest, with the way these tyres are starting to feel, as you can just see knock the wall through turn 1, I think we're going to have to go for it. We will, therefore, once again be one of the quickest cars on track for a little while, but yeah, again, this race is still obviously very, very early to call, but just feels like it's starting to unravel away from me early on this afternoon. Again, another chunk of wheel spin. As we head down the hill, we've now got both McLarens in hot pursuit once more, and I think the gap to Gasly, I can't imagine it's going up with the way this thing's handling on this lap. So where are we? I mean, I don't think we're going to be all the way down in P18. I feel like it's being a little bit pessimistic in that regard. It reckons, of course, we'll only come out ahead of that group of 4 cars right at the rear of the field, but we'll have to wait and see as we wind our way through. Don't really care about that, Mark, to be completely honest. As we get to the end of 1/3 distance this afternoon, we'll hold up those McLarens a little bit through the final few corners, give Charles Leclerc a little bit of a helping hand, but make sure that we don't speed into the pit lane. Then, yeah, we're going to be nowhere near where I ideally wanted to be in this GP. I reckon we could be out there around those Haas cars, so, you know, we might still be ahead of the Red Bulls this afternoon. So, of course, we will still be on much softer tyres, or much fresher tyres, sorry, than most of the field. 2.5 second stop. No, we're going to be out down in about P18, aren't we? This is not looking good. Early on in the afternoon, got to be so careful on the throttle there. We're going to be drag racing with Sergio Perez on pit exit, but the Mexican just gets out in front of you there. Of course, last weekend's winner in Miami, and well, we've got the jump on Dan Ticktum, but now I'm going to have to start trying to make some overtakes just to try and stay ahead of Zhou Guanyu and his Esteban Ocon in those McLarens. Come on. Of course, all the time we're stuck behind these slower cars really is not doing us any favours either then, as Sergio Perez will try and put the power down in through the tunnel. Sure we can get a run though on the Mexican as we head down in towards the chicane up the inside. We'll go just to get it slowed down there into the apex. We just jumped the curve slightly, but certainly not enough to feel like the move wasn't on. Proving that you can overtake around the Monaco Grand Prix, but it's still very, very difficult. Next up, Alex Albon though. Well, I might not be able to put on the show in the positions I want to be making overtakes for at the moment, but hopefully we're about to get another one on Alex Albon as we head down in through the tunnel once again. Seems to be able to, whoa, latch onto the back of the cars there, as you can see this time round to the outside. Albon is really going to try and squeeze me out there, but we're not going to give up on it. Give him some room on the exit. We're still side by side off the corner. Of course, the FI, whenever there's contact on F122, irrespective of who it is, it's always my fault, is what you got to remember there. But round the outside we'll go P15 then, once again this afternoon. But yeah, I've got no idea sort of what time Zhou Guanyu and co are doing, so whether we'll even still be ahead of them. I guess the only other thing we can really hope for at the moment is, of course, that Charles Leclerc doesn't get out ahead of Pierre Gasly. He's still sort of the great unknown in this afternoon's racing action. So if Charles, there we go, Charles Leclerc is pitting though at the end of this lap as well again. I'll turn those front tyres into 50p pieces. Luckily, rejoin the circuit in such a way that the game doesn't believe I've gained an advantage, which, looking on the minimap, I certainly haven't. But this will be where things get really, really turned around then. Pierre Gasly, of course, will have to go a bit longer in that Merc. And look at that, Charles Leclerc has come out behind him. I think one of the Ferrari cars as well has opted to stay out. So Charles Leclerc then is going to come out in P3 of this GP. Here goes the McLaren of Esteban Ocon. So luckily we're ahead of him there. So Zhou Guanyu now leads on these historic streets. But we now really need to try and get up to Leclerc before Gasly boxes. And Gasly, I mean, surely would only box at 25 at the latest, I reckon. But this time round close enough to Bottas as well to go for a bit of a send then. You can see normally the gap was in 0.2 of a second, and then I'm close enough. And once again, that will just about be the response there. The one-time champion puts a move on the two-time. And we are now back into 9th place this afternoon. But again, these tyres are going to be absolutely wrecked towards the end. And I still, to be honest, don't exactly know how well we're doing on the fuel. Might be a lot of lift and coast in the final few laps, causing a bit of a train there. Yuri Vips peels into the pit lane, as well as most of the other runners that haven't already this afternoon. So we should get eyes on Charles Leclerc there, and Zhou Guanyu peeling back out of the pit lane. They hop over the curve through turn 1, but Gasly therefore leads. Charles Leclerc in P2 there, 7 seconds up the road from myself. So to be honest, we didn't really lose a lot through all of that traffic there. Of course, making some overtakes happen in this Grand Prix, but it is a question of how far will these medium tyres go and how well will they do it. Oh no, Pierre Gasly's peeled into the pit lane before Charles Leclerc got to him. So he hasn't even helped us in that regard at the moment. We are pulling out a nice little gap over Zhou Guanyu. I'm debating whether it's going to be worth boxing again late on and then going onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres there. You know, I mean, in the perfect world, what would happen is around lap 30 we would get a safety car late enough in the day that I can try and pit. Whoa, steady on, there's an Armco there, Matt. But yeah, just over half distance, the gap's still 6 seconds to Charles. We are bringing that time down, but sensibly nowhere near enough that we could get close to him, but would not have an advantage to get reined in. Let's just keep trying to build up the gap to the cars behind. It might be, yeah, that I look to get ahead of Gasly on a second stop. We were only about 6 seconds behind, weren't we? So it's not actually going to be that impossible. Effectively, yeah, I'm only chasing about another 6 seconds to Pierre. Because, of course, if I'm on soften a lot quicker, left the ERS on, I could easily get that past Ocon and the Maccas. Sorry, Stroll and the McLarens even. showing that we've still got some pace then this afternoon. It's pretty much now at 2/3 distance. I've just randomly set a new fastest lap of the day there. Just these medium tyres are still working rather nicely at the moment, but I am worried that they are going to hit the cliff before the end of the race. The other thing I'm worried about is the fuel. We haven't even saved half the fuel I needed to this afternoon, and we've got, like I said, just over a third left of the race, so it might be that we kind of bail into the pits end of lap 28 or so, try and save a bit of fuel, of course, through that pit stop as well, and then just try and do a bit of an economy drive once we've got back past those other cars, or we try and take track position late on in the day and just hang on to P2 there. What's frustrating me is I'm still closing in. Whoa, on Charles Leclerc there, completely bottomed out over the curbing. I just want to keep pushing at the moment, see if we've got an opportunity against Charlie. The hard tyres, I've always felt, do not work around this track. There is it again. We graze up against the wall, and that might have been some damage. Are the team recommending a new pit stop? Yes, they are. They reckon end of lap 25 we should be pitting in, so they reckon we picked up some damage. Let's have a look. We've got yellow on the left, green on the right. That shouldn't be too much to concern ourselves with for now. Oh, Felipe Drugovich out of the Grand Prix.
Out of this race.
Shame we're not going to get a safety car, because that could have been beautifully timed for us late on in the day. But Drugovich out here in Monaco. First retirement of the afternoon. It's come quite late on. We've got more yellow flags out though. One of the Williams, I think, now is going slowly as we head down in towards Rosberg Corner. I think that might be Alex Albon now out of the Grand Prix. So it's a shame that hadn't come one lap sooner. Otherwise we might got a safety car. But Albon now, our second retirement in the space of about 3 laps. I think with 10 laps to go though, the decision has been made for me at the moment. Just with that bit of front wing damage, I think we'd have to get a new wing on the car as well. And of course we've got the fastest lap. So I think 19 points is sensibly going to be all we're going to get out of this one. So I think we've just got to try and bring it home there. Front tyres now starting to struggle a bit more. We're still way under on the fuel, so I'm going to have to really lift and coast throughout these final few laps. But I think we've just got to park the bus out of Zhou Guanyu. And it looks like, again, of course, we watched Teo Porcher win this race a couple of years ago. Looks like once more we're going to be the bridesmaid and never the bride. Really do want to try and get the fuel low to the line, of course. That's the other reason I didn't want to pit again, was of course we would have had to push really hard later on in the day. We might have had a much quicker car than everyone else, but even then, the best we would have sensibly been able to get would be P2. And of course then we'd basically be back to exactly where we are now. I think we can defend from Zhou Guanyu right the way through to the checkered flag. Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna kind of battle, of course, except for this time around it's the McLaren sat behind. We're not in a... Hello. We're not... No. No. That was not part of the plan. Round the outside through Portier there with Zhou Guanyu. We've got to try and put the power down with these medium compound tyres there. Just got a huge chunk of wheel spin there, and luckily using plenty of battery as we head down the back straight. We'll just about be able to slot in front there once more of the McLaren, who's now side by side with his teammate Esteban Ocon. We've still got 7 laps worth of racing to go here, and Zhou Guanyu does not want to lose out on the podium that he's been sat in for so long up to now. He has just about hung on there, but the one good thing to come out of that is it has helped us save a little more fuel this lap, down to 0.7 laps under. We've basically got to save 1/10 a lap to the end of the Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc now 18 seconds clear, as we're sat nearly 6 seconds off the pace. Right, 6 laps to go then. The gap, sorry, the fuel even, minus 0.06. Come on. We are under so much pressure. We are going to cause such a train by the end of this race, but honestly at this point I do not care. I'll take another podium here in Monaco. Well, I said that. I also said at the start that I don't care if I get another podium. I just want to try and win this thing. But 19 points doesn't sound too shabby for our already looking slim championship challenge. Leclerc, of course, will retake the lead of the table as Lando Norris now, I think, has joined this huge gaggle of cars. It's only the understeer we've got pushing us down in towards the tunnel, but again we've got a lot of straight line speed, and of course you just have to use the battery around 2 places on this lap, and those 2 I am absolutely using it. No, that's even more front wing loss. I don't know why I'm struggling so much down through the hairpin, but now we have got a serious understeer issue. I mean, we have already for quite a long time. But this is just going from bad to worse. I feel like I end far too many Monaco Grand Prix with half a front wing on F122. There is again Zhou Guanyu is almost going to get squeezed out. Can we just get a safety car later on in the day to see us through to the end? That would be absolutely magnificent, F122. But again, whenever in the My Team career mode has this game tried to play into my hands? 4 laps to go. We're still minus 0.4 laps worth of fuel. Like I said just a few laps ago, it does worry me just how often I finish the Monaco Grand Prix with what feels like half a car left underneath me, but it just seems to be the way things go around this venue. But 2 laps to go then, we are still just about hanging on from Zhou Guanyu. It might look like we've done enough to save the fuel as well. I can tell that McLaren, just the way he's driving, is getting more and more impatient behind me there. It might be that Zhou Guanyu goes for a send somewhere in towards the final couple laps. You can see they're getting uber close to the wall down the hill, but we are still just about able to thread the eye of the needle. This was Nelson Piquet that described racing around Monaco like trying to ride a bicycle around your living room. Well, we're trying to ride a bicycle around our living room with no handlebars and a flat tyre. That's how it feels like at the moment, but still, this bicycle is running in P2 there. Charles Leclerc already onto his final lap around his home and the streets of the Monaco Principality, of course. Grew up watching Formula 1 cars race around this circuit. As we said before, used to go to school actually just down out of the Rascat. I'll try and point it out. It's over on the left-hand side, a bit further down in that big red building. Which, really has seen it all. Charles Leclerc, of course, I'm pretty certain has already won around here in the My Team career mode. I think back in Season 1, of course, with Ferrari, but still yet to do so, of course, in real life. But what can we say? Our curse around this venue continues into Season 5 and will last, well, maybe until we return next season in Season 6. Oh, here goes Zhou Guanyu again, looking around the outside as we head at Casino Square there. A little bit of contact between the pair of us there as he tries to hook it up around the outside, but I'm going to have to really try and get my elbows out. Luckily, Zhou Guanyu will have to slot back in behind us and we'll just again control the pace as we head down through the hairpin. I mean, this is pretty much from P2 down to about P16, P17, I think, in this Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc will win the Monaco Grand Prix once again, the second time 2-2 Motorsport have won on these streets. So, of course, Théo Pourchaire winning his debut Formula 1 race back here in Season 3, if I remember correctly. It looks like Théo, I think, is either a lap down or basically a lap down this afternoon, though, so certainly not emulating the success we saw from him in years gone by. But the gap at the front will look a lot more extreme than it sensibly was there. Zhou Guanyu not giving up on it just yet, though, again trying to look around the outside. Ocon might fancy a move on his teammate. No, he won't. We'll try and put the power down out of the final corner. We will come through for P2.
Yes, that's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
They've done it then. They've won here in Monaco with an emphatic performance and a victory they can be proud of for many years to come. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
But they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Charles Leclerc's points today take him to the top of the championship standings. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Monaco Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc takes the win on his home GP. They're 42 seconds back, and like I said, I'm pretty certain our train extended from ourselves in P2 all the way down to Dan Ticktum in P16 there, so not great at the end of the day. Teo Porchet did finish on the lead lap there, just leaving Schwartzman, Latifi and Magnussen or lap down there, and of course Albon and Drugovich not making it through to the flag. Championship-wise, though, like we said, Charles Leclerc reclaims the lead at the top. Lando Norris, though, in P2 there still, and we're 50 points back already after just 7 races of this season there. Lance Stroll re-jumps his teammate Mick Schumacher there. Zhou Guanyu now tied with the second of the Alpine cars, back ahead of race winner Sergio Perez. Ricciardo, Ocon, Albon rounding out our top 10. But look how many cars have scored points so far this season there. The top 15 all have over 20 points in this championship after just 7 races. That goes to show just how wide open this campaign is at the moment there. With, I mean, Bottas, Piastri, Drugovich and Gasly all tied on 22 points apiece as well. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back very, very soon when Formula One returns to Azerbaijan, Baku. Finally, there, can we end our winless run? I'm not convinced, to be honest, but we'll wait and see. I've had some bad luck there before, but some very solid pace. Only time will tell. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.